Hey, Middle-earth role-playing fans. Roman Daisel back with another Middle-earth role-playing adventure module. This one's called The Mouse of the Entwash, 8011 of the series. It was made in 1988. I bought this in 1989 from Imperial Hobbies. And I thought it looked really cool with the Agnes McBride art. You got a Rohirrim warrior, or ranger, whatever you want to call him, scout. He's in a boat. It looks like he's got a spear, fishing spear, and he runs across a demonic character. What's called a Mewlips, something like that. So I thought it was a pretty cool picture. Now Mewlips don't actually appear in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, or in the Silmarillion, or in Unfinished Tales. They do not really appear canon in Tolkien's works. In fact, the only mention of the Mewlips is in The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, which is a collection of poems and short stories that Tolkien did after Lord of the Rings. And it's not a very long passage, but it does describe what they're like. Their shadows where the Mewlips dwell are dark and wet as ink, and it's when they live in marshy areas. So that's it. It doesn't really give much. It's kind of about the Murloc Mountains, which I think are in Wales. But he tried to tie all this in with Lord of the Rings eventually. So he did try. So that's where I.C.E is getting the idea of Mewlips in the Entwash. Now the Mouse of the Entwash are over here. They mark the border with Rohan and Anorion on the northern edge, and they flow from the Anodal and Nodlo River into the Anduin. So during the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, they're going to leave the Emyn Muil before the Falls of Rhoras and head out into Rohan. They're not going to continue south on the Anduin like Portage, the falls, simply because they risk getting entangled in both the Entwash and the Nindulf, which are on the other side of the Anduin. So two marshes flowing into the Anduin, because you can get lost in those. So this is kind of a backwater area. Now on the in cover you get a nice little map of the region. So you see the Falls of the Rhoras, the gates of the Argonath are right there, and then you have all these little things. They depict many marsh villages, people living in the marshlands, which is quite possible. It happens. Like you go to Louisiana, New Orleans, you'll find people living in the swamp areas. And of course it has the major towns of Anorion and Calenardon. So this is before the Rohirrim period. This is during the Gondorian period, which means that the cover of the book doesn't match the rest of the book. Then you have the table of contents. So basically we have three adventures. Adventure 1, Water of Life. Adventure 2, Mikander's Tower. And Adventure 3, The Lost Ring. Guidelines adapting this module. Portraits and landscape, so it tells you a little bit about what it's like to live in the swamplands. It'd be a haven for smugglers, smuggling stuff, avoiding any collection duties in Anorion. I don't know how feasible that would be, considering that there's really nothing across the Anduin into the Daggerlad, unless you're smuggling down from the upper Anduin down to Minas Tirith, so that would be possible. In the Gondorian period, in the Rohirrim period, it would be more feasible, smuggling things from Rohan to Gondor. But again, you'd be going out of your way. So there's a description of the region, talks about the towns and villages, which is interesting reading. Like, they're not huge by any stretch of the imagination. And then you got the fauna, what beasts you're going to encounter within there. Birds, fish, reptilians and amphibians, small creatures. So you find Knickerbreakers, which are only mentioned really in Fellowship of the Ring. Then monsters, the giant hellbender. Now I'm not sure where they get the giant hellbender from. That could be from some other Tolkien work, I'm not really sure. But I've never heard of it other than in this book. And then you have the corpse candles, which are basically taken from the Daggerlad and the Dead Marshes. Mewlips, which I mentioned, are in the Adventures of Tom Bombadil. Swamp stars, which is another variation of the corpse candles. Again, they take it from the Dagger Lad and the Dead Marshes. So that's just ice adding stuff to make this more interesting than it is. Alright, next you get into the adventures. The first one's the Water of Life. It's basically a smuggling adventure where you got to hunt down smugglers. And you get the NPCs, the garrison, the townsfolk, a typical guardsman, and how many men are stationed at the Mirroring Steps, which is kind of cool. So a minor outpost would have such and such. You can use this anywhere in any other adventure book. I like how they have the backstories of all these people, all these NPCs, the smugglers. Again, they have a diverseness. So even back in the 80s, they were kind of woke. The diverseness, you got a Easterling, one who's a half Easterling, half Gondorian, a Northman, Lesser Dunedain. Got a couple of women involved. Layouts of the town, the Mirroring Steps, which I like. I like the layouts. You can use this town anywhere. General sites of interest, like the smugglers' hideout, where they hide out in the mud banks on an island in the middle of nowhere. Describes the area, the river that you're going to be working on. Gives a small map of that. And then the smugglers' flight, like they all take off in different directions, which makes sense. It's like scattering. You don't go in one direction always, because then you're going to get caught. You leave a wide open trail. Go in different directions, force the pursuers to follow one or two of you. So it gives the route of all these guys, what kind of dangers you can come across. Like they come across a hellbender. So you get this task, starting the players, the aids, the obstacles, and the rewards. Next, Mercando's Tower, which is a murder mystery plot. So you get a tower in the middle of the marsh, and they have pilot fees for their stretch of the river. And you get a plot of a guy coming, general trader. He's got they say poutine in this one, bad poutine, but really it's a bad potion. If you drink it, you get sick. So there's critical events like a murder. Then you hunt the person down. You make sure you get the right guy. Again, you get NPCs. Some people who flee. And it gives the backstories for some of these guys. And it gives the layouts of the tower. So you have the tower area, plus the docks, plus where the dredged river and the mud banks. The plan of the tower itself, which is pretty cool. I like the tower plan. And you use this anywhere, these kind of tower plans. I like them because you can use them anywhere. For any type of scenario. In any location. Layouts around the tower. You get a task, starting the players. Aids, obstacles, and rewards. Next up. The lost ring. So now you're looking for a lost ring. So a treasure hunt. Why do they always have rings? I have no idea. So Lady Tathram's Tale. Yeah. The Mewlip Mage. So you got a Mewlip. This is where you meet one of them. So you have to take on one of those things. Get the lady, the squire, other NPCs involved. And then the location buried. Tathrin is out. It's on an island in the river. So you have to get in the marshland and follow that. So it gives you locations through the marsh, how to negotiate, travel through it. Layout of the Bear Tathrin. So I like how it's built so it can... Reminds me of the Swamp Tower in Monty Python. The Holy Grail. So it gives you all descriptions of all the tower layouts. The plot, starting the players, searching for the ring. Some kind of woes woman, which is, I wouldn't say it was feasible. I.C.E takes a lot of creative liberties in these things. What the ring does, the outcome, the rewards, other aids and obstacles. So finally, encounter table. Key to the encounter table, key to the NPC table. Then the NPC stats for all the adventures. Finally, a beast table. Another generic character sheet. So if you don't want to make your own character, you can use these guys. So PC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yep. Last but not least, You get another bigger map of the Mering Steppes. And then on the inside cover, you get another Mercander's Tower localities. Before finally the back cover gives you an explanation of what to expect. Now, did I ever play this game? I think we tried playing the first adventure with a group of high school friends. And then after that, I never used this again. It's not a location that I really interested in. None of my friends were interested in. Like fighting a Mewlips would be kind of neat, I guess. But other than that, it's a backwater. It's not anywhere important. It's not as exciting as places like Gundabad, Goblin Gate, or Shelob's Lair, or adventuring within Cardolan like the Barrow Downs and that. So the risks outweigh the rewards in this situation. So it's not my favorite book, but again, I like reading it. I actually like reading it, and I could adapt some of the layouts to other places. Anyway, all you Middle-earth role-playing fans, let me know if you guys had this book. Were you able to play it? Did you like it? And tell me what you like and don't like about this book. Leave comments in the comment section. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Until next time, this has been Roman Daisel. I am out of here.
Goes increasing, peace throughout the land is ceasing, evil mist flows through the valley, silence wailing, never ceasing. From out this barren empty land, nations formed from brick and sand, now is almost as before, peace in Middle Earth no more. Black riders on a buried trail, Hobbit's mission cannot fail, ring must end volcanic fire.